lot of people in today's age, the reason why they say love is not enough is because they make it seem like love is just an emotion, some feel-good thing that,
Disney World fairy tale
exactly.
you're talking about, yeah.
And so for them, it's like, love is not enough. Actually, real love is enough. You know, when love is in its truest form, it's enough. It doesn't need anything else. But if you're going to separate love with responsibility, love with action, love with life commitments and things like that, then love will never be enough. So social media love is not enough. What are you going to do with hatred? Nothing. What are you going to do with resentment and intolerance? Absolutely nothing. But love, literally, as cliche as it sounds, it makes the world go round. But I never wanted to be an artist like that. You know, I sang in church quite a lot. And I was constantly confused as to why my voice had an impact. You know, I'd be sitting after church, people like, oh, wow, you sing so nice. I'm like, wow, I don't understand this. If you don't challenge yourself as an individual in life, you will never get to the things that are meant for you. So I would say in my career, if I had stayed an engineer, I'd be cheating on my career.
Have you ever thought about opening like maybe a troll account and trolling them back, or you just like...
It has no impact. If I'm trolling from an anonymous, I'm not shy. You understand? I want to come and face you like man to man.
Deal with it directly. Welcome back, guys, to the Fix Africa podcast. If you're not yet a subscriber, make sure you hit that subscribe button. And thank you so much for joining us. Today, we've got a special guest with us, Lady Zamar. Welcome.
Hi.
We had such an interesting conversation about love just before we started rolling. But yeah, we'll get to that. Maybe let's start here. Where did the name Lady Zamar actually come from?
The name is kind of simple. My first name is Yamikani, and I wanted a name that would retain its integrity. And Zamar means the same thing as Yamikani in Hebrew.
Oh, wow.
And lady is, when I was in varsity, we constantly addressed each other as a lady and king whenever we hung out in poetry gatherings or hip-hop settings. You know?
Oh, nice. What university did you go to?
I went to varsity.
Maybe let's start with the high school. What high school did you go to?
I really don't like giving details about my life because of what has transpired over the past couple of years.
Makes sense.
Yeah, I'd rather just remain this mysterious person that no one knows. If you know me from high school, shout out. If you know me from primary school, shout out. If you know me from varsity, shout out. But if you don't know those details about me, then I'm not about to just put them out there.
Interesting, because I couldn't find that information.
Yeah.
So why did you guys call each other? So was this in high school or varsity?
Varsity. Yeah.
Okay. Why did you guys call each other kings and lady?
I think that the poetry people just really like that. I've always been interested in writing and all that stuff, but I never coined myself as a poet or a rapper like that, you know. It was just societies that I belonged to that intrigued me, and I loved being around those type of people, and I learned a lot. And it was because of being in those spaces that I left civil engineering and went into creative writing.
Wow, that's a bit of a drastic. Were there any detractors that were like, why are you leaving?
Everybody. I think every single person in my life was like, why are you leaving engineering to go into, you know, creative arts? Like, why would you be doing this? And I think everyone in my church was kind of disappointed in me. And my mom didn't know. I just asked her for registration money. And my dad disowned me. He was like, you are playing with your life.
Sure.
So there was a lot of controversy around me changing because my mom is an accountant, my dad's an engineer. And it was just like one of those things where you kind of want to follow in your parents' footsteps and get into the professional space and all that. And while I would have made an excellent civil engineer, I realized that it would not make me happy, and I would end up in a couple of years just not being fulfilled. you know.
Wow.
But the arts and poetry and all those things, they made me feel alive. They made me feel passion. They made me feel like I could say something, and I wouldn't just be another number in a company, and I wouldn't just be another woman struggling to make it work in a field that is so male dominated and that has such male centered cultures, you know.
We'll get into that, the male-centered cultures around different industries. But
Yeah.
has the moment ever come full circle where your parents sort of embraced, I mean, with all the success and the greatness that you've achieved within the arts, has the moment ever come full circle where they came back and they said, you were right, we were wrong?
I don't think my parents have ever agreed, you know, like, you're right. No. They're very proud of me. My mom particularly is very proud of me. I think she kind of got convinced when I dropped King Zamar. Before that, she was like, this is not a career. You're wasting your time. Even when I was nominated for the Summers and the Metros with Cotton Candy, she still was like, you're wasting. The night before the award ceremony, she called me and she said, get a job. Stop this thing of yours, you know? And it was hard to hear those words, you know?
Yeah.
Hard to know that people are celebrating me and my family is just like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
You're the first of your kind. And I'm the first in my whole family to get into the arts like that.
Sure.
So it was hard for them. With COVID, you know, my parents went back to that thing because artists suffered quite a lot during that time.
Yeah.
So my mom was like, you see, you're going through a lot. You guys can't perform. You guys can't make the money that you're supposed to be making. You know, so it was a lot for my family. And I think also just how the entertainment space is, the way you constantly get trolled, the way you constantly have people in your business. I think for them, it was just like it threw them for a loop, because it's like they called me every single time my name pops up on any platform. They call, like, are you okay? You know, my family just hates it. They don't want me to stay in South Africa. They want me to move abroad. They just feel like I'd be safer away from so many people that don't actually know me as a person, you know? Because being an artist, there's a perception that people have of artists, and it's a heavy one. I'm constantly trying to break away from it. It's a heavy perception of non-intellectualism. There's a concept of laziness that surrounds it. There's so many negative things. People assume everything you do is for clout and for marketing. And there's a level of integrity that is lost with you as a human being when you are an artist, you know? So it's something that my family, knowing that I'm a very intelligent person, I'm resourceful, I'm this, I'm that, and they know I'm an introvert and I'm not a person that likes attention, you know, that contrast for them has also been like, we really don't like this for you. You know, we're proud of you, but if you could, you know, stop, do something else, it'll be great.
I mean, I'm just thinking about the fact that, you know, family always loves and wants to look out for you.
Yeah.
Did they sort of see, I mean, were they things that they saw from social media that they thought, okay, this is a bit too much? And, you know, where did that overprotectiveness come from? Where they were sort of always saying, because I'd imagine that they want the best for you.
Yes.
And maybe then it should be the industry that's a bit flawed instead of them actually being flawed and them seeing these things. Let's talk a bit about the social media side of things. I mean, what have you experienced that you sort of felt, oof, this is some toxic stuff from South Africans and from the social media space?
I think it's the general mentality of there's no humanity attached to public figures of any kind. Like, it's like there's these margins of behavior that people expect you to adhere to, right? And if you divert from what they imagine you to be or what they imagine you to kind of encapsulate, then there's a lot of hatred attached to that. So there's almost like a grandiose view that they have of people in the public spaces because of the perceived influence that is there, So we judge more harshly, and there's no room for personal engagement of any kind. And of course, I knew what I was signing up for, but to almost remove the individuality of a person from them just because your perception that is extremely skewed and flawed is not being met or fulfilled by this individual that you're seeing is kind of cruel, So the first instance that I experienced that was I was narrating a story. I was on Trending Essay and I was just narrating a story of how, because they asked me a question about how I write. And so I answered, and I was being myself, just candid and just open and not guarded at all. And that was my first lesson. Never, ever, ever reveal your heart to anyone on TV or, public platforms. Because right after that, I started trending and I received multiple death threats. And I couldn't fathom why me saying something about a place that I know and how the mentality that surrounds that particular place helped me become a certain way or helped me see things a certain way. And it's only a small section of that culture that I mentioned, how that became something that would ignite so much hatred. That was baffling for me. And that was the first time I realized that you shouldn't speak about your life. My mom was right. Don't say anything.
I mean, that's so for me, that's quite interesting because I think then in your music, that's where you do speak.
Yes.
But however, in terms of just vocalizing it out there.
No.
I mean, I want to delve into some of the firstly, do you consider yourself a social media bullied victim?
No, I'm not a victim.
Okay, maybe
I'm
the
bullied.
word victim.
I'm not
bullied.
a victim.
Okay, maybe the word
Listen,
victim we can.
If social media was more open, I'd be the biggest troll. Troll people back. There's a lot of people I want to troll back. But I have to be Lady Zamar.
I see.
I have to have decorum. But honestly, I wish I could just tell these people off.
Have you ever thought about opening like maybe a troll account and trolling them back, or you just like?
It has no impact. If I'm trolling from an anonymous, I'm not shy. You understand? I want to come and face you like man to man.
Deal with them directly.
Yeah.
Sure. And I mean, for me to ask this, because I think there's so many young people out there that social media does affect them. And I think you've got a very strong mentality that you've been able to sort of separate the two. But there are people out there that do get affected by it. What would you say helped you sort of overcome it if you did ever struggle with it? The social media attacks, the memes, the trolls, the name calling, everything that you've been through on social media. How did you overcome it?
I think the biggest thing is a support system, an environment where people know you, not the perception of you, but you. And I think a lot of people in the public space, be it entertainment, television, music, whichever of those entertainment spaces, even politics, people are kind of groomed into that space. So their entire lives are kind of, it's that, I wasn't like that. I came from being a bookworm to getting into accounting at some point, then quitting, then getting into the engineering space and just realizing, this and this. And then I was a waitress while I was in varsity, so I got to see a lot of things. And it was never part of my dreams to become like a public figure like that. I wanted to be a public speaker internationally, but I never wanted to be an artist like that. I sang in church quite a lot. And I was constantly confused as to why my voice had an impact. I'd be sitting after church, people like, oh, wow, you sing so nice. I'm like, wow, I don't understand this, And I grew up quite popular as well. So I don't really have that sense of a false sense of self or a limited sense of self. Not to say that people who have that if you're struggling with social media bullying, it's not to say that you have a limited sense of self. But I would suggest putting yourself in very challenging situations, because that's the only way you're going to know how much strength you really have. You know, I think a lot of people are afraid of challenge, you know, and a lot of people don't sit with themselves. Because if people bully you, right, you also have to have a moment where you're like, are they telling the truth? Yeah, it's not nice, but are they being honest with me? Is this something I can learn from? Are these people just being malicious for the sake of it? Is there no level of truth? I really believe that where there's smoke, there's fire. You might just not understand the fire because you are the person seeing the smoke. So you might misinterpret what the fire is. But every single person that does get bullied on social media, it might be the truth, it might be a misalignment of purpose in the foundation of what you're being told about. It might be a misconception of something. But there's always a level of truth to what people are picking up on. They just don't know the truth. So they're coming up with things.
All sorts of things to try and
So
formulate.
you have to be honest with yourself, and, you know, also look at yourself and say, hey, what are they saying about me? And that's one of the reasons why I would read a lot of the stuff, because I feel like it creates, why am I shying away from things that people are saying about me? How will I defend myself if I don't know what's being said?
But doesn't that affect your confidence? And I mean, how did you, because a lot of people would say that they generally just don't read the negative, or they delete, or they block. I mean, there's that huge culture of blocking, and they'll always say, I'm protecting my inner peace or my mental health. Doesn't that, you know, affect it? Or
it does. I would be a fool to sit here and say that it doesn't, because I'd be lying, you know, and it'll be foolish because I'll be also, you know, misleading people. So basically, I do think it affects your mental health. I mean, it affected me to a point of being suicidal, you know? But I think also your inner voice needs to become the loudest.
Sure. It's
You
profound.
understand?
Yeah.
If you're going to listen to 5,000 people, 2,000 people, even 1 million talk about you, and it affects you, you need to check yourself.
Because that inner voice should be the loudest.
You are going to be affected. Don't be fooled and think you're not. You're definitely going to be affected. Your mental health will be affected. Your confidence levels will be affected. But once they're affected, what are you doing about it? Right? Are you just going to crawl up into a ball and cry like for a period that I did? Or are you going to recognize that there's inner work that you need to do? Because nobody should have that much power over you. Nobody should be able to destabilize your sense of self for a prolonged period of time. You know, no one should have that much sway in telling you your own story when you are the one born with yourself and you're going to die with yourself.
Sure.
You know, so
profound.
It's gonna, and if you feel ready, then challenge yourself. Look at it as a challenge. Don't look at it as, I'm a victim, oh, I'm sad. That's the quickest way to become depressed. If you constantly take up the victim mantle, you will be depressed. But if you look at it and change your perception of the very same situation, you will then be able to see that actually this is a challenge that I can overcome.
Yes.
That's not something that will overcome me so that I'm a victim. I often speak about perception. Perception is powerful. It's more powerful than anything, especially self-perception. You know, you could come into a situation, someone corrects you, and you could take it as, oh, I'm not a good person, but I'm not this, I'm not that. Or you could change your mind, and that person comes to you and says, here's a problem, I don't like this. And you go, how do I fix that? You understand? So your perception is more important than the circumstances in your life.
Wow.
Because you can change your circumstances if you change your perception.
So earlier on, you said when you wanted to grow up, you wanted to be a speaker.
Yes.
I just saw the speaker in you come out. I'm like,
Thank you.
like, wow. I think let's delve into that, because I mean, so many times people box artists to one thing, and I mean, listening to you speak, one could tell that you've had some experience speaking, or you've done speaking before. Did you ever engage in public speaking, those sort of activities? Well,
Yeah. I think there's something called a Stedford.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. So I did that when I was in primary. And then in high school, I often tried to speak on behalf of my peers. I went to like an Afrikaans high school, and I'd be advocating for Black people. Because in predominantly white schools, there is still some level of racism, and it's ignorance, man. I can't put it in any other way. There's a lot of ignorance. You don't know Black people well, and the Black people don't know white people well. Then there's the Indian, and there's the colored. We live in a South Africa that is very diverse, and a lot of our groups are very kind of like secluded. We keep to ourselves. We do our own thing. It's only certain parts of South Africa where there's a lot of integration. So in high school, I spent a lot of my time advocating for Black people. I became very proud to be Black. But I also knew that the medium of communication has to be the medium of the people that I'm addressing. Need to understand. So in our household, we perfected speaking. My dad was very strict about pronunciation. He was very strict about knowing words. You need to know the meaning of a word. Reading was a big thing in our family, where we had to go get books from the library. It was horrible. As a kid, it's horrible.
Yes, I remember those library.
Yeah, you had to go every single 2 weeks. We had to have certain books that we've taken out. My father would quiz us. Yeah, it has. And later on in varsity, obviously, I spoke in front of different groups. And in church, I would often preach.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah. So
wow.
Speaking is something I enjoy.
Wow. And I mean, so earlier on, we were talking about love, and you were talking about the power of love. And I think that was quite interesting. I want to know why are you so passionate about love?
It's the only force in the world worth anything, in terms of human interaction, right? What are you going to do with hatred? Nothing. What are you going to do with resentment and intolerance? Absolutely nothing. But love, literally, as cliche as it sounds, it makes the world go round, It motivates, it inspires. You can see children who are not raised in loving homes, how they come out, It's a struggle for them to become healthy human beings. It's an unnecessary struggle. There are a lot of people abandoned by their loved ones. You can see the effect of a lack of love when people pass away. You find that one person that they loved or that loved them is gone, and they don't know how to function in the world. There's certain chemicals that being loved and loving releases in our brain that are very necessary for healthy cognitive functions and development and all that stuff.
Wow.
So I genuinely believe that love is the one force that we don't speak about enough. And it has been twisted in media and it's been made like a fairy tale. I don't understand. People think love is a fairy tale. Like, I guess because Disney made these fairy tales and then at the end and they lived happily ever after. It's such a flawed mentality to have, because the moment things get hard, a lot of people bail. They don't try to fix things, family, relationships, even their children. Sometimes it's like, if a child is not up to standard according to what you would expect as a parent, often the child is shunned, the black sheep of the family. And there's a lot of movements in the world that lack love that is given to them. You know, you don't have to support people or movements or things.
Yeah.
But it's good to show love and understanding, you know, towards people and movements, you know, like LGBTQIA. People who identify in that spectrum are often very badly treated by society, you know? And when I sit back and I look, I'm like, how do you expect any kind of change? Everything you're preaching to people, how do you expect it to land if you're not showing people love? You know? Even my favorite teachers in primary school, high school, they were the loving ones got through to me. The ones who were just hard. We had a maths teacher, one of the worst maths teachers I've ever had. He was just so horrible because he didn't show compassion. He didn't show empathy. So if you didn't catch something, he just automatically assumed you're dumb, you know? And then you had another maths teacher who understood that, oh, you probably don't understand that. And so explain this, and suddenly you can understand this whole problem, you know? And you start to realize that love is everything. Even in personal relationships, the wrong partner will destroy your life, will alter your brain chemistry to a point that you will never be able to recognize yourself. But the right person can make you bloom like a flower, you know, and you could achieve the things that you never thought were possible in the right persons, you know.
Literally, as you speak, I'm like, can I take notes? Because I mean, you are so like, it's beautiful to see you talk about love. And I want to get to this question. I know that you're working on a book,
Yes.
a self-help book, and I want to hear like the title and delve more into it. But I want to just start by saying, you know, I've always struggled. I remember reading my Bible when I was young, and I want to do everything in the Bible, you know, 10 commandments, be a good kid, everything. But for me, I always found that the verse that sort of I didn't like the most was, and the greatest of all these is love. And if you have no love, you're a sounding gong, right? And I used to be like, hi, well, God, like, why can't I do well in my academics? Why can't I? The love, and hearing you talk about love, I mean, it's like a new way of understanding it, because you explain it so well. But let's talk about your book. What's the title of the upcoming book?
I want to share the title, but I don't think I should. Not now.
Oh, not yet?
Not now, yeah.
Okay.
Once it's approved by the publishers,
Okay.
then I can share the title, because I haven't even told the publishers the title yet.
Okay. And what's the book around?
It's around, first of all, my perspective in this particular book, not overall, is how women function in relationships. What they look for, right? The things they need to consider. I think those are the things that I'm focusing the most on.
Are you trying to change the narrative of, you know how it's always the guys that look for something in a wife? You're switching that around? I'm
switching that around because the responsibility should be on both genders. I think there's too many books and podcasts about what men have to do. And so this guy will be this amazing person. And you've heard the saying where good men, you know, women don't want good men.
Yes, yeah.
You know, I've heard that from many guys,
too many
which
times,
is not true. But these men are men who are ready, who are, you know, prepared. And then they meet this woman that they think is prepared. And the challenge of the constant relationshiping, as opposed to the events of a relationship, like we're going out, going to the movies, going to have dinner, you know, we're going to be intimate. Those are just events in a relationship. There are so many other parts of a relationship that women, in my opinion, are not prepared for. And so they find themselves after the honeymoon stage shocked. Like, who is this man? You know, because they don't know what is actually expected of them. And I speak for myself. I have not been in a serious relationship for years, you know. I have tried relationships over and over again. I've tried dating, I've tried all these things. But it was only when I met someone that I wanted to have a future with. And I used to think I was perfect. Oh my gosh, you could not tell me. I was the perfect woman. I'm this, I'm that. But when I met somebody who I wanted to have a long-term relationship with, that's when I realized I'm not equipped for this. I'm not ready for this, because I'm still in the mentality of how I was raised. Cook and clean, you know? I must be a girl, look nice. But there's so much to that we don't consider. Miscarriages, a lot of them, men are responsible for that, you know, because of their unhealthy DNA and stuff and their habits of life. And now as a woman, you sitting here thinking, I can't get pregnant, 10 years pass, you meet someone else and you instantly fall pregnant, you know, because you are not aware of what is required for you to be the perfect person to enter into a relationship. Because the more you focus on yourself, the easier it is for you to sift through the people that approach you. You know, you're not going to be hungry for male validation. You're not going to jump at the first guy that says, I love you so much. Oh my gosh. You know, and a lot of times women look for the man with the biggest gesture, the biggest, you know, not even money, but it's just the guy that's obsessed with them. The guy that's like, I can't live without you. You know, money is always going to be a thing.
Okay.
And I think money is a thing for both men and women. And that's another thing that I touch on is the viability of a relationship long term when finances with a woman are not correct, you know, because that becomes a problem in the future. Because if you think about it, if you as a woman are constantly dependent on this man that's got a big bank, you're compromising certain things. And a lot of the women don't speak about those compromises.
And I think they catch up, they build up.
Yeah, and now 10 years in, you've got 3 kids and you're so confused, like, how do I get out of this? Because now the man has got all the cards.
Yeah.
You know? And my view is not feminist at all. I'm not even trying. I don't like feminism. I don't believe in it. So my view is really just preparing women in terms of mentally how to be. Yeah.
I love that. I love that so much. I mean, so what about the person that says, okay, cool, we hear it, but love is in everything? Or rather the people that don't understand. So I might be one of those people, right, that says, be kind, be nice to everybody, love God, love everybody, and like, yeah, you know, not delve into, because a lot of people say that the more you love, the more you get hurt. A lot of
That's
people,
true.
Yes.
The more you love, the more you get hurt.
Yeah. And I think a lot of people say, oof, that's going to be distracting. I don't want to go through that.
That's not love. You can't say you love and be afraid of pain.
Oh, okay.
You can't, because how are you going to know you love? How? It's like saying I'm strong, but I can't lift 10 kilograms. How are you strong?
I see.
You're not strong. You're weak, you know? And if you are afraid of the challenges that love will bring you, you are not ready to love, you know? Because love really is a challenge. It's a commitment. It's a choice, a daily choice. The same way you go to the gym to become a better person mentally, physically, emotionally, is the same way you need to look at love as a lifetime commitment. So if I'm loving you as a person, my love cannot be limited to how you act. My love is my choice. How I choose to disperse it has got nothing to do with you. The moment my love becomes something to do with you, then it's not love. You understand? It's a trade. And a lot of people in today's age, the reason why they say love is not enough is because they make it seem like love is just an emotion, some feel-good thing that,
Disney
you know,
World fairytale
exactly.
You're talking about, yeah.
And so for them, it's like, love is not enough. Actually, real love is enough. You know, when love is in its truest form, it's enough. It doesn't need anything else. But if you're going to separate love with responsibility, love with action, love with life commitments and things like that, then love will never be enough. So social media love is not enough. You know? Yeah.
I'm ready to buy the book. I'm waiting for the website. I'm waiting for the website. And allow me to say this, and I think it's warranted to say, I did not expect to hear this
I'm so
from
sorry.
you. You know, I did not. I think that old adage of saying that you know, there's lots of people that are so multifaceted.
Yes.
And I think you're one of them, because I mean, engineer, you're academic, you write books, you know, there's so many different facets of you. I really, this is very refreshing. Let's talk about your children's book, because you also wrote a children's book. You published a children's book, and I think you said you're working on your second one.
Yes.
Why children? It's books.
I didn't really choose it.
Okay.
I wanted to publish, and
Cool.
I approached different publishers, and the only publishers that were willing to publish, again, the Lady Zamar thing, you know, the artist thing.
Yes.
Everyone comes and they're like, "Oh, you want to publish? You're publishing a memoir? You're like, "No, I'm a writer. I'm actually a writer."
Sure.
And they're like, "Well, you're an artist." So the only publishing house that gave me a chance was Penguin. They wanted to see what it was, you know, that I would bring to the table. So they did not first put my career. They wanted to test if I was a good writer. So I had to send in my first manuscript, and they didn't like it. They thought it was a great story, but they were like, it's not, you know, what South Africans would want to read. So I had to go back to the drawing board, and I was like, what do you mean South Africans want to read? So I had to go back and research and understand what they meant. Then I wrote Amara Goes to the Olympics, you know? And when they read that, they're like, we love this book. Like, yeah, great, thank you.
Oh, wow, nice. Yeah. I think for me, it's refreshing to know that you actually write, because you can tell when somebody's not a writer and you're reading their book. I don't want to mention any names, but yeah. Always just like, okay. So cool. I mean, let's talk about the music, because I think for me, I love the fact that you've been singing since you're 6.
Yeah.
So singing began in the church for you? Mm. Okay.
I was always singing in church. I was always humming. I'm always humming something. And I was in a school that had a choir, and we sang at different churches.
Oh,
you know?
I see.
So kids, a lot of little ones, they would just go there and would sing. And that was my first experience, like being on stage. You know, it's scary.
Sure. And the rest is history.
Basically.
I mean, you're such a great artist, and you've done so many amazing songs. What's the message of your music? I mean, you've got an album coming up. What is the message that you're trying to share with us in your album?
I don't know if I have a particular message. I think it's music. Music for me is self-expression more than anything. It's a way in which I can offload some of the stuff that I think about in a positive way. If I was to write my actual thoughts, I think I'd be making very dark music, you know? So I made a decision when I started singing that I would always take the worst things that have happened and try to find the silver lining and then put that in music, you know? As opposed to me focusing on that emotion, almost create music that would be aspirational to what I would want, you know? So music for me helps me filter through the thoughts, and it helps me understand those thoughts better. It helps me memorialize them in a positive way, as opposed to, you know, I felt like there's already so many people making sad songs. And I particularly don't like sad songs.
You're like,
you know, like, why are we listening to this? My heart is broken. And then now you're making me listen to another song that's gonna validate my broken heart. No, thanks. So I wanted to make music for people like me who don't want to stay in those emotions. We want to feel happy. We want to feel like there's hope. And that's basically what the whole concept of my music is about.
Cool. Let's talk about the album. So when people listen to the music, your new body of work, what is it that you want them to take out from it? What should they do with that music? What are you expecting them or for them to actually do with the music?
The title is Rainbow. I want people to feel hope. You know, I want them to look at their situations, hear my songs, and feel hope. Our Love, first track on the album,
Love.
is a song that speaks on the difficulties and challenges of a relationship. And I'm saying fight for it, you know? So that first song. So I know that a lot of people are going through these things. And sometimes it feels like it's the wrong thing, but fight for it. So it's like that song. Then there's Party in Heaven. It comes from a very morbid place where it's actually speaking about death. But I'm saying there's a party in heaven. You know, like when all of this is done, there's a place
that's waiting for you. Wow,
that you can go to, and it's gonna be fun. And this place may be horrible right now, but it's gonna be fun there.
Wow.
You know, so there's a lot of tracks that I want people to hear and feel that hope. There's a song called Blame Game. Blame Game is the perspective of a side chick. You know, how she feels, how she sees everything in her life, you know, because we glorify being a main to a point where it's like, if you're not a main chick, you're a horrible
I'm confused.
person.
I'm like, love. So
No, this is just about positions. Like how this person, you know, just has her story. That's her story. You know?
What is your take though on being a side chick?
I don't know how to say it. Women have placed too much pressure on themselves to be good and not enough pressure on men to be good. We accept a lot of bad behavior from men, but a woman does the same thing or something different or has different motivations for doing the same thing. She's seen as this horrible person, but you don't know the stories that this man has told this woman. You don't know the web of lies he's created, you know? He's the person that's wrong. Because I don't think there's a woman in the world who does not want to be the most important person.
So you're saying maybe
life.
she didn't even know that she's the side.
She probably didn't know. There's a lot of women who didn't know. Or they were told a different story. Like, actually this and this and this.
We're co-parenting.
Yeah. There's a lot of stories out here, guys. Like, it's bad. Where
this is a pandemic in Johannesburg.
And also sometimes, crazy enough, the person that you consider the side is actually not. That's the person that might actually have the person's heart. And that other one's just like a domestic worker, whatever, you know, bringing in the money. And the thing is, both of these women are not
the
wrong.
The way you use domestic worker, I automatically thought she's cleaning the house, but you're using it as in like she's working for the house.
Yeah, she's working for the household, so she's supporting financially, you know.
The use of words is
that's why I'm saying, like, there's too much put
pressure,
on women, and they're not prepared or equipped for it, you know. And there's not enough on men. But there's so many ways in which men are required to behave, which is the complete opposite to how they actually behave in society sometimes. Do you understand?
Do you believe in the concept of, I forgot the word that people use. I think they call it destiny partner. Like they say, is it soulmate? I forgot the word.
A soulmate.
Yeah, but it's like a word where it's like you only have one.
I actually do believe you only have like one. If you're lucky, you get two.
And then you have to, once you find that one, then your life will be
Yeah, I mean, let's
whimsical.
be real. Career-wise, as an artist, I started out in engineering, right? But I became an artist. But that took courage, a lot of courage, to break away from that, right? A lot of relationships, a lot of people are together only because that was the easiest way. They didn't have the courage to not engage and just stop and try to find what the person that they're supposed to be with.
The destiny.
Yeah, so it's life. Life has got, if you don't challenge yourself as an individual in life, you will never get to the things that are meant for you. So I would say in my career, if I had stayed an engineer, I'd be cheating on my career with music.
But you're opening up such a can of worms because I'm like, what about love the one you marry, ketile, work it out?
Guys, this is a very long discussion, and I don't think this is a platform, because if we're gonna get into marriage, it's gonna become a long chat.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, cool. Let's leave it, guys. Yeah. All right, and I mean, so I mean, I'm looking forward to the album, because I think hope is needed in this country.
Yeah.
People are going through so much. So yeah, we're looking forward to downloading and listening to Rainbow. I'm excited.
Yeah, just listen to Rainbow, guys. Like, Rainbow is an amazing project. I just hate the fact that I wish I could present Rainbow as a book, not as an album.
But you could do. I mean, you could.
Not really.
No, you can't give us.
I could maybe try.
Yeah, where the songs become
Stories.
the chapters.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Actually.
Yeah.
That's a great idea.
Credit me.
I'll think about it. But
Cool.
basically, Rainbow is just an album that has two meanings. The first one is, I'm here, I'm back, I'm making music again. I'm not going to stop this time. So I'm going to build my empire from Rainbow, going this side. Lady Zamar, from King Zamar and Monarch. It's always going to be a beautiful chapter of my life. I love it. And there's so many fans I've gotten from that chapter. And I just want to take them with me on this journey. You know, this journey where I'm happier, more alive, more self-aware, and definitely making better decisions for myself, you know? And the music that I'm creating now is gonna be very different. I also broke away from the royal theme, because there was King Zamar, then there was Monarch, and then there was that weird EP that I put out, Royal Flush, you know? And I realized I'm tired of that. I'm tired of this aloofness, almost, you know, like setting myself apart. So with Rainbow, I'm bringing it back and saying, I'm your everyday girl. I'm going through my own things, and my music is gonna say that.
Okay, so we're looking forward to Rainbow, and I mean, it sounds like Rainbow is you're reintroducing yourself to us.
Yes.
And what does that look like? I mean, what is the future from? I mean, we've had the time of King, we've had the time of Monarch, and now we're flowing into Rainbow. What does that future look like?
Definitely more music that is, especially brand-wise, music that is more direct about what we actually going through day by day. Music that I get to speak on politics, I get to speak on society, I get to speak on morality. You know, I think with my previous project, I centered a lot of the singing around love, you know, and with this project, I think I've just broadened my perspective to the different elements of life itself, you know, as opposed to just, this is who I want. Like my previous album had songs like Dreaming, Love is Blind, it had This Is Love, it had My Baby, Collide, another big love song. You know, there was just a lot of love songs, of Sunshine, Adore, a lot of love-focused songs. And with this project, I'm bringing it back to, I'm still giving people a little bit of the love aspect, but now bringing in complexities, the different layers, the different scenarios. And with my next project that I'm already working on, hopefully it'll be dropping also this year, you know, I'm delving into societal stuff, I'm delving into, you know, because I want to be able to be a holistic artist as a musician without limiting myself. You know, when you look at Beyonce and what she's done with Renaissance and Cowboy Carter, it's like mind-blowing, you know, because we are so used to artists having to be a certain way all the time. If Boyz II Men came back today and had a song that was not about love, people would be, you know, outraged. Like, what?
What's going on here?
And that's the thing that I really don't like, because I feel like the moment you as an artist get kind of confined into a space, that's when you begin to die, because you are you're big, you're a human being, you take up a lot of space. The fact that my music can reach millions of ears, it means I'm taking up a lot of space. You understand? So I need to be able to speak on that. I need to speak on the issues that everyone has in their lives and experiences that they have. With this album, especially a song like Party in Heaven for me, it was such a monumental moment when I came into the studio and I was like, I'm making a song, my own eulogy, my own, song that I want you guys to play at my funeral. And I was like, what? Oh my gosh. And I'm like, yeah. And it's not going to be centered around love. And it's going to be about the experience of death and what are my views on heaven and how do I see this, a song like Enough, it really takes out the insecurities and you speak about the internal conversations that you're having with yourself and you're like, I don't think I'm good enough, and I know that I want this, but I don't think I'm good enough. You speak on Sweet Fire. Sweet Fire is a song that outlines the horrendousness of being in the wrong relationship, as opposed to always glorifying it. Let's talk about the fact that you can actually get so burnt, in the situation. There's a line in Sweet Fire that I really, really enjoyed recording was, you got to lose yourself to the spirit of loving you and you've got to brace yourself for the violence that love can do, I don't think people brace themselves.
For the yeah,
they don't.
Definitely.
And Sweet Fire is a song that speaks on that. Feelings is a song that vocalizes fear. And it's not just, oh, I've got so many feelings. No, we talking about this thing is freaking scary. I don't want to do this. I want to do something else. Work for It is a song that kind of like highlights situationships and talking stages. That's another new thing that the last 5 years has brought into our world. And now there's
apps.
I heard talking stages now involve physical intimacy. I'm like, what? When did these rules change? And it's those kind of things, where there's so much more. So Rainbow creates that barrier or that bridge from the past me and to the new me that's going to be broader, much more elemental, bigger, more natural.
More I hear about this, I want to hear the music right now. I think, just coming up on the violence that love has towards it. Do you think that one could ever get ready or prepared for that? Or you think we all just have to go through it? It's just something we have to brace ourselves in.
I think the more you love you, I find it weird when women say, I want flowers, but you've never even bought yourself a daisy. Like, it makes no sense to me. You expect things from people that you can't give yourself. And I think with me, my mindset has completely shifted to, especially now in my Rainbow era going forward, life is a self journey. It's you. Every day it's you. Everything that's happening to you, right, is because of you. You're inviting it, you're bringing it. You're the one, I love this book, The Secret. And I remember first or second year in my creative studies, I watched it. And I never understood what they meant by you're the architect of your own life. But I've realized with COVID and the break that I took that we are really the architect. Here's the crazy thing. When I was being bullied on social media at first, cried, oh, life is so hard. People hate me. They don't understand me, and I'd block people every day. I'm blocking and I'm not even focused on making music, But I'm busy here, being so affected by these people. When I finally took a step back and started making music again and started being an artist again and started finding myself and trying to figure out what's my voice right now, I went back and I looked at my block list. There's only like 5,800 people that I blocked, on Twitter. And I've got like over 900,000 followers. I'm like, these ones are the ones making me lose my mind? That's crazy. You understand? In hindsight, you really just realize that more often than not, you create your own hell. You create your own problems because you're not looking at things the right way. You understand? So I often, like now, whenever something happens, even in my music, I try my best to be like, is this me? Is this everyone else? You understand? So at the end of the day, you are everything to you. Everything. Like there's nothing that you have gone through that you have not called. And I know that's a scary concept. I know.
Very scary.
It's very scary because, let's not go into that. I'll leave it to people to think about.
Yeah. I love that. I mean, listening to you, one could say that you have something so big to offer this world. You have a big ministry that you'd have to offer this world. And I think it's so beautiful to see you stepping into it, living it, and actually doing it. As we get to a close of the podcast, what's the legacy that you want to leave in the world? What is it that, one day when you're 80 or 90 or 120, you want people to remember and say, she came and she...
I think it's going to sound silly, but I want people to have my very pretty pictures. I love my pictures. I make sure that my pictures are perfect because one day when I die, I don't want people to go RIP with some dodgy picture.
I was not expecting that.
That's what I want to leave in this world. And the other thing, I want people to remember me as a person who lived by her own terms. I didn't let people decide for me. Everyone counted me out of this industry. Everyone thought I'd never make another song. I've had people call me and say, who the hell protects you? What is it that drives you? People are baffled at my resilience. Or that's what they think. They think it's resilience. It's not. I'm not more resilient or less resilient than anyone else. I just have decided that it's my life. It's not yours. It's not anyone else's. I give you my music. I give you Rainbow. I give you every other album after this because I want to. Not because you're going to force me to. I don't want to end up like Michael Jackson, constantly bullied till the day he died. His legacy tainted over the years. Only years later, now people are uncovering the truth. I don't want to end up like Amy Winehouse, who was such a gifted person, who ended up in such a tragic state, and she passed away way too soon because of other people's negligence or decision making. I'm not saying that Michael or Amy Winehouse did not have a part in their lives. Like I said, your life is yours. And everything that happens to you, you've allowed it, you brought it into your life. But I don't want to be that person for myself. You understand? And I don't know how much control I will be able to exercise in my own life. Because as much as that's my wish, that's my goal, I cannot write tomorrow. I can't write next year. But when I'm 80, hopefully in many, many years from now, right? I want people to look at my life and say she lived by her own rules. So I'm going to try with everything in me to live by my own rules. I'm not saying that I always will. I'm a human being. I'm flawed. So there will be times where my foundation is shaken. My belief systems, I'm questioning myself. But at the end of it, that's what I want people to remember,
That's so profound and so beautiful.
Thank
you so much for joining me. Is there any other message you'd want to share with the world? I think you're so refreshing to listen to because what you say has a lot of wisdom backed with it. So I think that's so powerful. Is there any message that you want to share with the world before we wrap it up?
It's a message in Our Love, the first song on my album. I guess we'll make it if we don't fake it. Stop faking it. Stop faking anything. Find the things inside you that really give you joy, that really give you passion and a reason to move on in the world. Stop trying to be something that you're not. Even in relationships, start showing up as yourself. You'll be surprised at how many people actually like the real you, as opposed to this made-up version. I'll give you an example. where you as a girl, you cook and clean for this guy, you know, because you're dating. Then when you get married, he finds out that you actually hate cooking and you hate, you know, cleaning, and you only do it twice a week. And you actually like being in your pajamas more than you like wearing clothes, you know? Or you love makeup more than you like bareface. Or you like bareface more than you like makeup. Or you have an addiction to shopping, you know? Or you love watching stupid crime shows, or you like watching comedy. Just recently, I was sitting and there was a suggestion of, so what do you want to watch? And I was like, what do you want to watch? This is your place, you know? And it's like, I don't want even the people I'm with to be on the person, not people, person I'm with,
yes.
to feel that they need to dress themselves up and accommodate me in their space. I think accommodation should be agreed on, you know, not I'm just going to accommodate you because I like you. So even as an artist, I implore artists, musicians, if you want to make music that speaks about flowers, make it. If you came from being this gangster rapper and you want to become a gospel singer, do it. Stop thinking that there isn't a space for you. Stop faking your life. You only have this one time, you know, and today's going to be gone and tomorrow's a new day and you don't even know if you're going to make it tomorrow. So, yeah.
Wow. Thank you so much. That's so beautiful. Thank you. Thank you so much for joining us today. I personally learned so much. I learned about the overcoming the things that people say to you on social media, the brackets they put you in. I learned about love. I still have questions though, but I learned about a powerful force in life called love. And I really learned about how an album can truly be a new beginning for all of us. We can join it on this journey of creating a new beginning in our own lives. Let's create a new beginning. Let Rainbow be our new beginning. So make sure that you guys stream it, you play it, you download it, you get it everywhere, and let's enjoy this amazing body of work. Thank you so much for joining us.